realizing his intent. And it's funny because he's got a very inspirational journey. A lot of people who went through what he did, they fell along the wayside and they stayed right there. They didn't pick themselves up. They didn't move forward. As you know, the phrase "pull yourself up by the bootstrap." He did. He did. And we were talking about having him on because we're going to have him on, more frequently because we're going to do a piece on civics, and because he's now uniquely positioned to talk about civics from a government perspective. We definitely will have him on. But while we were talking about it this morning, we said, well, we want to have it. Which the title was "Government Gets to Parliamentarian," and he started laughing and said, we're being diplomatic. A dear friend of ours, and said, "No, man." He said, "You mean prison to Parliament?" So we said, "All right, if that works for you, that's fine." And producer John said, "Yeah, so the man, him own it, own it." So we said, "All right, fine." So people want to know who we are talking to. Without further ado, here's our friend, here's our brother. Here is Isat. You can
Mr. Eminem himself. Mr. Eminem himself. One Isat.
Yeah, welcome. This is the first time you've been back but it's the first time you're here in a long time.
All them Isat.
The man beer get great.
That is so. Yeah.
I've been campaigning, so I went to Mount Sinai and I returned. Not with the 10 commandments, but with a whole bunch of great hair.
Well, I'll tell you what. First thing, congratulations.
Yes,
and a well fought victory, because a lot of people doubted your ability to pull this win off.
True.
Because you were up against a very formidable opponent,
well-financed.
a very well-financed opponent, a very well-connected opponent, and yet you managed to pull off this upset. Tell you what, a lot of my JLP friends, they're upset. They're still upset about it. They pull off the upset and they're upset, And I said to them, well, you know what happened? God on time. And there's a gentleman from your constituency who said to me that he had never seen a candidate who walked the length and breadth of the constituency to meet and greet and talk to people and listen to their problems. He said he's never met anybody like this. He said he heard about it being in some places.
Christine, what's going on? And you hear that? Isaac Buchanan go everywhere. Every constituency, every corner, East Portland, the people them know him.
Politicians have never ventured, but he said you were there. So on behalf of everyone here,
yes.
On the university, we want to congratulate. As you know, we have a university now, It's
called the university, because nobody told me I was talking about that, I feel left out.
It's called University of Rottingham because we're teaching now. We're taking this program to a higher plane. And so I've been designated as the provost of the university, and Kevin is the adjunct professor. And you, by the way, I just found out today, so you don't even read my promo and I'm disappointed, I'm hurt. But anyway, you're listed as a lecturer.
Okay.
So what we wanted today is that we just want to talk about your background, your journey, because I find it to be highly inspirational.
True.
And I'm just hoping that there's some child, there's some youngster, there's some young adult out there who was overtaken by some bad event in their life and then just feel like it's over. And I just want them to hear from you to say, look, you can pick yourself up and you can be whatever you want to be, whatever you set your mind to.
Of course.
So what I'd like you to do, and we've never done this, is talk to us about ISA, the journey.
Well, that's always such a difficult thing for me, but I'll say
Put him on center stage, Kevin. Put him on center stage.
One Isaac.
I'm used to it, I know, sir.
There you go, sir. It's all yours.
No. So I'll say this. Let me give the shortest possible version because you need 36 hours just to get through the first chapter. I'll say this. I'll start this way. Life is something given to us without knowing we are to receive it. Having said that, at 46 years old, going to be 40.
Merceline, what's up, Merceline? How you doing?
7 on the 12th of December. I am appreciative that I am the grandson of James Samuels Portius.
No, never from a computer.
Very important to know your identity. And that's just a small fraction because I am the son of Big Youth. From where my identity lies. It is who I am. Even though with all the other titles or whatever. I'm just Big Youth son, and I'm quite fine with that. Every now and then I'm Zambo's brother and Joan Port son. I love that. But why I say that, because through my journey, ambition found as a guest in the prison system. So from prison to parliament. Why I say ambition found? Because you see, youthful exuberance is wasted on the youth. As the shadow spokesperson on youth and human rights, let's talk about the youth aspect now. When I went to Meadowbrook High School, and while at Meadowbrook High School, with the exceptions of Dr. Morris, when she was alive and the principal, the education system was much better than it is now, and you either could keep up or you couldn't. But even then, males have always been marginalized. So if you see what's going on now in the educational system, it was no different when I was going there. We either could pay attention or we couldn't. Teachers either said you were bright, or if you're ugly like me, them don't want you in a them class, and I hate that. But I'll just say this: in 1996,
Oh my God, Isaac is a
President
joker.
Magistrates Court, Joyce Bennett was the judge. Found me guilty for cocaine possession, dealing in and taking steps to export. Fines paid. Found myself at the United Theological College of the University. Yeah, University Theological College, UTC. And I was going to become a minister of religion. So I was going to look spiffy like you guys, minus the bow tie. But after the first year, I discovered a topic. So this is university.
Hold on, them
And
people,
I
man,
did a
put in the
course in
password,
philosophy.
so I don't want to
Realize
see.
that Jesus was a real gangster. Those 12 disciples were just ordinary men walking with him. He was on a mission to, through his ministry, change the mindset of the people from Jerusalem to, wherever. And I was like, no, Jesus is hype. So I need to go do philosophy, because from Christology, the New Testament interpretation, it wasn't cutting it with the Jesus that I was learning about, outside of the biblical interpretation. So I started to do philosophy. And whilst doing that, on a trip in November, I never forget it, I was on a plane and I was told that my name was being called. 10 years later, I should say, I'm deported. Let's put it that way. So, whatever that looks like, I got arrested in the United States and was sentenced to a 10-year sentence.
Alright, so I know exactly the mark over there. Alright, so let me just
To know your identity.
touch back the box, man.
And that's just a
This.
small fraction, because I'm the son of Big Youth. From where my identity lies. It is who I am.
Come on now, stop playing with your boy. Oh, sorry, my bad.
Titles or whatever. I'm just
It's connected?
Oh, John Portia's son. I love that. But why? I was in the to attend. I never forget it. I was on a plane and I was told that my name was being
Gaza,
called.
Wagwan Gaza. Big up.
10 years later, I should say, I'm deported. Let's put it that way. So, whatever that looks like, I got arrested in the United States and was sentenced to a 10-year sentence.
What happened?
Whoa. During that 10 years, though, I was in the Bureau of Prisons, a system that understands rehabilitation, don't allow you to be idle, and education was a mandate in the Bureau of Prisons. I'm hard pressed to see how you could have gone to the Bureau of Prisons, and if you didn't know how to read, you must have learned.
Yeah.
It changes you. So it's a prospective, forward-thinking prison system. Of course, I was teaching in the system, and then came the law library. And I'm watching Law and Order, Special Victims Unit, Boston Legal, you name it, and still Perry Mason and Matlock. Let's not leave those out. But why am I speaking about this? Because whilst in prison, I was in the law library and I was writing briefs and doing cases and helping people to get their convictions overturned. And thinking I know the law because I'm in the law library and I'm bright. If somebody would have told me that all of that repetition, read cases would have been valuable to me, it would have.
Antonio, what's
I'd
up,
be
bro?
telling a lie. Then came deportation. Then came returning into a society that if Buju Banton would be the best person, he has a soundtrack to the deportee's life. Albeit I didn't get deport and come down in a one pants and I never broke on the money and all of those things. But you know the song. And back in Jamaica, very rough because if deportees can tell you once you're marked as a deportee, if a firecracker happen anywhere in your area, police show up at your door and there is profiling. It may not be racial profiling, but they blame you for everything, even if it's not so. So notwithstanding me, son of Big Youth and grandson of James Portius, nobody cares about that. You're just a deported, twice convicted drug dealer, dirty boy. They reminded me of that while I was a candidate in Portland and Eastern. My opponent wasted no time repeating it about, I think, 17 times. Whether it be platforms and interviews and yeah. Before the vase was broken, of course. So anyway, let me add to it that the gaps in between that's exactly what it is. To a person, they see numbers, but a day in prison is like 1,000 years. Let alone having to do 8 years, 9 months, and 38 days or whatever it was. Um, and I'm in Jamaica and I realized one thing that was sure. I
Yeah.
could either listen to the narrative and just do nothing and just become worthless, which is what the Jamaican prison system is about currently. Or I could take up my life. Unfortunately for me, as I said when I started, I'm the grandson of James Portius and I'm the son of Big Youth. Very significant because my father, my mother, my brother, my family, they ensured that I had the space and the freedom to find a way. So of course I'm here and I cut my album, Lovers Rock. And I gonna make sure say I turn big star because my father artist, so I'm gonna be artist. And it was there that I met Papa right here in Jamaica with my finished album complete, and I took it to him for him to bless it. Because when him bless it, I'm gonna be a big star, right? Yeah. Wasn't so because the Baba put me in that healing circle and him dropped those stones and the stones go fishing, wang, 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 wang. Hey. Even it never take a rocket scientist to know that he was this album and this artist thing wasn't gonna work out. And he told me, he says, "Do you have a brother?" I say, "Yes."
Yo, Isaac's story is like he could literally his life story is so interesting and it's still ongoing. He could literally write a book or give you like a life series of his life. Like literally, he will be called from prison to parliament and beyond. I mean, man.
Sadu says, "Yep, he's Michael, you are Tito, but not to worry. You're gonna be a lawyer. you're gonna control and manage the affairs of your father and your brother." And he said it clear as day. Of course, I thought this man was a fraud because how do you look at a convict and tell him he's gonna be a lawyer? Especially when you went on the website in Jamaica and it says how to be a lawyer, and the first thing it said on the top of the website must not be a criminal, must not have a criminal record, can't be a convict. Of course, after my calling, they removed it from the website, so kudos to me. But
Look at God. After Isaac decided and understood his task that he was supposed to be a lawyer, that part of the website was removed. Look at God.
I went to court having said that I would never get in trouble again, but the Constant Spring police station charged me for trespassing on my own property. And when I went in front of Justice Pusey, as she then was, Judge Pusey of the parish court, chief parish court judge, she said to me, after explaining to her that you can't trespass on your own property in the manner that the police said, she says, you know what, I'm dismissing the matter and you should be, I like how you talk up for yourself and you should be a lawyer because you come in here with your speaking, smoking, nice self, nice, clean self, yeah. So anyway, thereafter, and next thing I know, I'm in law school. Next thing I know, I'm doing third year. In my third year, Vibes Cartel gets convicted. And I go on Facebook and say, yeah, me I got free Vibes Cartel, thanks to the jury. And I did a whole independent research paper on the jury system.
Yo, Isaac embodies words on power. He says things and through the faith that he has in the power of the source, it manifests in his life. He's gonna break the vase. He broke the vase. He's gonna free Vibes Cartel. People think him was, and it's the first time I'm actually hearing this story because I never followed him up. First time I'm actually hearing this story.
Graduate for cartel, thanks to the jury, and I did a whole independent research paper on the jury system. Graduate, end of law school, I'm invited to read 10 volumes of transcript, never forget it. Thereafter, I was on that case, and before you know it, why am I talking about that case? Because 6 months of being called to the bar on my birthday, December 12th, never forget it, 6 months later, I'm before the Court of Appeal of Jamaica, advocating, just 6 months at the bar in that case. 2 months after that, I'm before the CCJ, the Caribbean Courts of Justice. And so that's 2 major courts, and I wasn't even a year at the bar. Then after that, I won a major appeal. 10 months at the bar. Count it up, you know. And I just know, say, man, a big lion. the world was endless. And then, I mean, in 2020,
powerful youth, man.
There was states of emergencies. But from about 2018, thereabout, I've been fighting the government with the state of emergencies. Met Mr. Rattigan in between those the confusion and stuff like that. But here I am today, having won some of the biggest cases in Jamaican history and changing the jurisprudence in a lot of them, contributing to Caribbean justice and law across the Caribbean and the Commonwealth. I woke up one day and there was a news report in CVM that I was the candidate for Portland Eastern. This is after being on Andre's show, Partner Draw TV, joking around about which constituency I would go to if I was ever going to be a politician. But Rattigan, you know, we fireborn politician for years.
Yes.
Look, Kevin is like, and you're one now.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we
No, Isaac Buchanan's story is extraordinary. That I did not know. So he was joking on Andre Stevens' show, and that's how he became the candidate. Yo, this man's life is a movie, bro. You can't tell me say you don't see God hand and moving in that brother life. Like seriously. What are we talking about? This man was chosen
we did that, and I mean, it was what started off as, you know, a hypothetical. I went to the People's National Party's conference. Why the People's National Party? Because I'm not corrupt. Um, Two, integrity is important to governance, accountability, transparency, compassion, empathy. All these things are completely necessary. And so here I am deciding that I'm going to run in this.
Isaac just fired be a shot off by JLP a while ago. Be a shot fire off by JLP. You know, he's talking about the 7 principles, them, right? Of leadership. Listen it back again. Because the PMP signed it. But JLP don't sign it.
Two, integrity is important. Kevin is like, and you're one no. But yeah,
Right.
we did that, and I mean, it was what started off as, you know, a hypothetical. I went to the People's National Party's conference. Why the People's National Party? Because I'm not corrupt. Um, Two, integrity is important to
Right.
governance, accountability, transparency, compassion, empathy. All these things
All the things that the JLP don't have.
are completely necessary. And so here I am deciding that I'm going to run in this campaign. And I can tell you this, I did discuss it with you, Will. Of course, you say, you sure you want to do this? And I say, of course I'm not sure. What are you talking about? And he's like, it's something you can do. And I do what I think, you know, life is time plus chance created. I seize the moment, and I try my best in all that I'm doing. While doing that, I used to be on the show and I used to check in. And then I realized that when you walk in the constituency, you go in places where there's no internet, and then it just became overwhelming. It was the most intense year of my life. To tell you that I went on the People's National Party conference stage, I think on the 16th of September. And to see me sworn in on the 18th of September the following year, it's just unbelievable in terms of what time. When I say God on time, what that looks like. And we've had many conversations on this show and many other platforms about what it is that you are to do if you're a politician. And all I can say is I know can answer that, and that is to serve the people with humility, understand that you have no greater power or authority than the least among us in our society. And that is my short story of from prison to parliament.
Wow.
And the chapters will continue to write themselves.
You leave out the suspension, though.
The who?
The suspension.
No, I'm not get no money for court cartel again. Every time I call cartel this name, I lose money. We not talk about that. But there is this one time at Bandcamp when I posted a vibes cartel song, and the whole of Jamaica just lost their minds and told me I should live on a gully bank, and I got suspended. And then I packed my bags and I went to the school, the Privy Council, and complained about being suspended, but the Court of Appeal in Jamaica said, listen, a man should not be deprived of his profession, gave me a stay pending the results. That still is pending. Not indefinitely, but it's pending. And I leave the rest of it to God with the humility. But we don't talk about that. Those people have gone on to other pastures. Not sure if I'm sure it's green, but other pastures.
I asked that.
Yo, Isaac, I miss. I must say DPP matter about. It's gotta be the DPP.
I mentioned that because I see it as part of the adversities the boulders that are in your way that came stepping stones along the way.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you why I didn't include it, if you allow me.
Sure.
It was not adversity, it was sure wickedness and a conspiracy to destroy
True, Antonio.
a young black professional who was about to do something great. Had it not happened, I would not have known that the great. I noticed I didn't tell you, I spoke before the Privy Council. A most profound experience. And my enemies had to stay behind me and watch.
Right.
And I'm sure they're watching now, so I'm going to behave myself.
They were behind and to your right. Listen, let me just say, I felt privileged, family members. I felt privileged when Isaac called me, because he called and said, listen, I'm thinking about doing this thing, and I've only spoken to my family, and I value your opinion, and I just want to hear from you what you think. And I said, fine, go ahead and tell me. And then he told me, and I said to him, look, do you really want to do this? Do you feel it in your gut that this is something that you want to do, represent people? And he said, yes. And I said to him, well, then the sky's the limit. You should just go for it. You know, no matter what, just go for it. Follow your dreams. And he did, and here it is. You know,
Here we are.
He's at the pot of gold right now. But let me ask you this, Isaac. Prison to Parliament. Is there a book in there somewhere?
Gotta be.
Or a movie plot or
Gots to
something?
be. Gots to be.
A book. Like I said, the chapters are writing themselves. I do know that you haven't met her yet, but Miss Ronnie is writing a book. I think it starts though the process of my political journey. Portland is uniquely situated. If I tell you some of the things that took place in this space, you'd say, what? So let's save it for the book, because I want people to read it. But yeah, in the making, I don't know yet if I've enough that people would want to read my story as I told it. But some as the chapters continue to write themselves, whatever the outcome, I'm sure at some point a book would come from it. For the purpose of inspiring young people, young black men and women to embrace their greatness despite the odds. We come from, certainly I know, I come from a race that has always had the odds stacked against them, and just always defying the odds is something that I'm sure the motivation wherever it comes from. For instance, it is Heroes Weekend.
Right.
Marcus Garvey is possibly. I'm not playing favorites, because if I had to, then Nani is my favorite now. I'm from Portland Eastern. That's where I represent. But Marcus Garvey, as somebody who deals with Afro identity and race pride, is a great. That is a bird. Yeah, it's a bird. It was actually a bird.
I know,
Yeah,
I'm joking.
Yeah, but I was telling you, Marcus Garvey, as great as he was, died in England, having gone through the political process. He was a councillor, but he never made it to Gordon House. I'm not trying to walk. I'm not even trying to fill his shoes, but to say that when I look at how when it was money, the type of money that was spent against me to ensure that I never made it to Garden House as a educated black man, say young again because the gray hair showing. It's just significant that, if nothing else, in a chapter I will be able to say that what my forefathers never completed, I was able to do with adversity and struggle.
I have two quick questions for you. One is this victory, this political victory.
Yes.
Was it for you? Was it for the PNP? Was it for your family? Was it for the youth of Jamaica? Was it for the community? Was it for all? Who was this victory? Who do you say this victory is for?
Oh man, let me tell you, this is a victory for rehabilitation. This is a victory for the people of Portland, the sons and daughters of Portland that look like me. I'm not even being apologetic about it. I'm unapologetic. This victory was for a youth where them are gonna say, you know, come out, you're gonna come out to nothing. This is a victory for people who made mistakes and know that life, with one life, it's not over, and as long as you're alive, the possibilities are endless. I'm saying it at a time when there's so much young people that are dying because of suicide. You know, they kill themselves because they're cornered in a space, and not once, not twice, not three times, not four times. So many times in my life, I've been in spaces where if I had ended my life, I would not be around to at 46, going on 47, to see myself achieve this. It makes me want to be alive, to see what the next 30 years of my life will bring, no matter the ups and downs that comes with it. And knock on wood, I hope no downs come and it keep going up. But it was definitely for the people of Portland, but along the way, people who look like me, who had experienced mistakes, adversities in life, and even people who were from backgrounds that they say the two Jamaicas exist and behave like people like me. I will talk about we, it's about us, that we don't belong in a certain spaces. Yeah, we broke vase and shatter glasses and ceilings and enter spaces that they say we can't get into. Yeah.
Here's the second question.
Yeah.
Second question is that
Why you laugh like that though? I'm asking the question. All right, let me start.
no. Here's the second question. Second question is you have been through a lot of adversities, and you talked about them this evening. But there's one that you didn't speak about that I believe it was a very pivotal moment. It was a magnificent victory. And it was also a victory not only for you personally, but by extension, people who would be or people who probably were similarly situated. And that is this. When you finished law school, you came up on a that you had to hurdle, and that was didn't want you to practice because of your criminal conviction. And I've read the paperwork, I've read the case out of Trinidad that you relied on.
Yes.
Please talk to the people about that.
It was Grenada. You are
Grenada, sorry, yeah.
Yes. So let me tell you, as I said, I mentioned it briefly about how people feel about conviction, how people feel about incarceration, how people feel about rehabilitation. Jamaica is not a society that is palatable to rehabilitation. We have an expungement act. It is actually being debated, and I'll be on the floor next week to contribute to the debate about what rehabilitation looks like, what the rehabilitation period should be. But I will say this: I was aware of what my biggest hurdle was. Whilst at the law school, I spoke to my lecturers and many persons about my issue. And the biggest thing that I appreciate about my lecturers and the lawyers that I spoke to was always to say that, listen, own your truth. It's a learned experience, you know. Own your truth and go research the law. And in America, America is very forgiving. Their justice system is forgiving. It's a first world country, and they set the standard in terms of what rehabilitation looks like. I use the case law as well as you at Lane, and what they spoke about is good character. What all the case law says is good character is of now. Right now, as I'm talking to you, that is how good character is measured. So because of that, the ability to disclose your past, speak openly about it and say, the man I am today is not him. And here's all the things that I would have done. So rehabilitation is a process that can be identified. It can be put in a table, a schedule, and say, meet these markers and you can prove rehabilitation. I know because I did it. I did self-rehabilitation because I'm in a country that just has nothing in place for it.
Wow.
And I went before a panel of the General Legal Counsel. There were 17 persons who heard my case. Bert Samuels was my legal representative, but I also had 17 witnesses that came along. So it was 19 of us against 17 of them. and why was, and I didn't know it was a panel of seven. But what I did find out is that the legal mind thinks so different from the ordinary man.
True.
And the lawyers looked at me, understood the law, and said, I remember it was Alan Wood, and he said, let me tell you something, your story is as profound as as Nelson Mandela. And I'm going to tell you this, you're going to make this legal profession proud, and that's the gamble we are willing to take. And they gave me the chance. Michael Hilton, Casey, he wrote the judgment, my judgment, which is law across the Caribbean, along with your lane.
Wow.
And I didn't see it as at the time it was difficult to go through the process. But when I got my my practicing certificate, as in my good character certificate, it meant a lot to me because there are people in society that's rooting for me. When I met the diaspora, probably Kevin, you're right. I should have spoken about that because when Jamaica was really digging that hole and remember how they was digging the hole and put it down? I'd have never believed the following year the woman would have been in court, right? But they were really trying to put me down, and the diaspora embraced me and said, you have a home, we love you, keep doing what you're doing, don't give up. And these learned experiences caused me to know that even though Trump is bombing boats in Venezuela, the world is not such a bad place. It's not the Gaza Strip, maybe. And so context matters. That came out of my experiences. Reggae Global Radio, Rattigan, Kevin Stew became my media family. And I tell you, nothing beats family, and you go where you are wanted. So if you want to be alive, just don't drive boats in Venezuela, right? We make light of situations because you also have to appreciate that we choose our battles. And the reality is the Caribbean is a peaceful zone. Certainly my entire existence it has been until I'm seeing what is going on, and I can only say that we have to live our truths, choose our battles, and love yourself, love your country, love your neighbors. I'll just leave it at that. But that in the end gave me hope, notwithstanding my sojourn in the legal profession thereafter, because there were persons that did not want me in the profession because they thought it was bad. Until my
no, big up Isaac. Big up Isaac. Never left that right there, so. Let me get to this dude, man. Let me get to this dude. Yeah, let me get to this dude, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, you guys remember, where is it? The Gleaner. It's in the Gleaner. Okay. I can find it. Videos, Gleaner. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. What? Bro, are you serious? Income tracking report, special report plan, police operation, Q&A, blah, blah, blah. All right. I'm talking to the moon. I just saw it, but I passed it. My bad. Let's listen to this.
Told the nationwide radio on Monday magazine in a motorist. I'm Karen Madden, and this is Jamaica Now. The Jamaica Constabulary Force is rejecting social media claims that a policeman tried to plant a gun magazine in a motorist's vehicle during a traffic stop in Nago Head, Portmore, St. Catherine on Sunday. A video captured by the vehicle's occupants has gone viral.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's very important to keep an eye on how the magazine, because it's now confirmed that that was a magazine, right? It was a magazine from a gun, right? The police gun. It's now confirmed based off this video. I want you guys to pay attention to how the magazine is placed under the bag. And there's a reason why I'm saying that. Look at this. Remember, nobody has to go in and care about the police. Look. Pause. Damn. Pause. You guys see that? You see the bag and you see the magazine? Now, I want you to have this freeze frame in your mind. I want if you not see it. Hold on. Maybe on the nose. You see that? That's the magazine right there. You see the bag? The bag is on top of the magazine partially. Alright, my people? Hold on. God have mercy. Are the people in Bolo Clips? You guys get Bolo 2.0. You guys can see good, right? Alright. Let me turn. The light is already up. We can't go up no more. Let's go. Just remember that. Please remember that.
Senior Superintendent Dennis Brooks, the JCF's senior communications strategist, told the Nationwide Radio on Monday that the magazine accidentally fell from the officer's ballistics vest onto the back seat of the vehicle.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, according to this man on the screen, the magazine accidentally fell from out of the police vest. So we're gonna ask one question. How comes the magazine fall and the police never realize it? So when it dropped on the seat, you never hear any sound? Is it that the siren on the car was loud, or did they turn on the sound of the siren when they were searching? When the that's a big ass magazine, you know. When the magazine fell on the seat, the police officer was not aware in any way that the magazine fell from his vest. Because this is the story that you guys are giving us now. My next question is, how the magazine fall on the seat so perfectly to the point where it was partially under a bag? Is it that it fell and the police never saw it, and then he put the bag on top of it partially after not seeing it? That's why I went to the first sense, you know. Hearing when it dropped out of your vest. And I would love to see a police vest and where he puts his magazine. So you guys were worried about, you know, Dennis Chung was worried about, Horace Chung was worried about the body worn cameras falling off. But I guess he should be worried about the magazine dropping out. How you doing, Donovan? I guess you should be worried about magazine dropping out of the vest of a police officer while searching a car. Is this a common thing that happens? Where the magazine of a police officer just, you know, casually falls out of his vest? Is it a thing that it, you know, I don't understand. How can you have a magazine on you that is not secure to the point where if you should bend over, it doesn't fall? So when a police is running, he could lose his magazine. If this is the case, that means it could depend on him losing his life or even saving somebody else's life. You see where I'm going with this? All types of... If this is not what people think it is, well, let us tell you this to the JCF. You guys have been thoroughly embarrassed. Because if you, as a well-trained operatives, right, your magazine, your M16 or whatever that is, magazine, falls on the ground, my general, and you guys don't realize it drop out of your vest. There has to be a safe part of your vest. Something was strapped down, you know. I used to wear vest, you know, let me not, listen. let me not even talk about me. There has to be some part of your vest to securely put your magazines. It cannot be that your magazine just randomly dropping out of your vest. So we're gonna move past what we thought it was or what it appeared to be, and we're gonna work with their explanation of it. Alright? Let us
Video has been seen by members of the High Command. There are, yes, it is a matter that has been brought to the attention of the police in the St. Catherine South Division where this incident took place. But I think
when did it take place, sir?
I beg your pardon?
When did it take place? And where?
To my knowledge, the information that I have at this time would suggest that it took place yesterday in the St. Catherine South Division, in the vicinity of Nago Head.
Okay, go ahead.
The information that I have is that the police saw a vehicle speeding over the gas station. There were men in the vehicle who were shirtless. Out of just due diligence, the police stopped the vehicle. The men said that they were coming from playing football. They asked to search the vehicle. They were allowed to search the vehicle. The men said that they wanted to record. Police said, sure, go ahead and record. There are protocols. You're going to search a vehicle. You have to search it in the presence of the person. So they are obviously watching the search take place.
So, all right. So, wow, this is really interesting. This is really interesting. At what point did the police? So the police never realized that he never realized his clip fell. Something so heavy on your body and in your person. He never realized that his clip fell. No, you see, if he was running or something, or tussling and it slip out or whatever, I could understand. But you just searching the vehicle. If my key drop out of my pocket or my vest, I am going to feel it because it has weight. So what the hell is going on with this magazine? A full magazine, brother. Oh, you know, feel the magazine drop out of your vest, brother. This don't make no sense, bro. This look very suspicious. I may stick to my guns and my instincts. There's no way, bro. There's no way.
Information that I have is that while the search, the officer's rifle was handed to his colleague and he began to search the vehicle. However, there was one magazine that he had lodged in his ballistic vest, and he searched the front and rear of the vehicle, and while exiting the vehicle, the magazine was dislodged and left on the seat. It was
so the police never know when the magazine was dislodged, but he can tell it in the report. So when he was leaving the vehicle, the magazine was dislodged. Da-da-dee. Da-da-da. So he leave the magazine that was dislodged after being aware of it being dislodged when he was searching the back of the vehicle. Walked away. They were exiting and going to their car to drive away. And the man said, Father, you know, so you left something in there, so what is? Something is listen to me, Ian. Something is inconsistent about this. And I'm sorry. We cannot continue to just be blind, dumb, and deaf to logic. Something seems extremely off about this, brother. So these guys could have drove off randomly with a magazine in the car. And another set of police, unfortunately, right, could have been down the road or wherever they were heading to, right, searched the vehicle, found the magazine, and these young men, at what point would the police have remembered that he dropped the magazine in the back of the car? Because he's saying from his knowledge, the magazine fell. Now, if you have a definitive statement that the magazine fell out of his pocket, or what is vest, while searching the back of the vehicle, why didn't he pick it up? If he knew it fell out, why didn't he pick it up? How could he know it fell out? How could he tell you in the report that it fell out if he didn't know it fell out? Did he say in the report, well, it appears that, it might have fell out? And if it's a situation where in the report he said it might have fell out of his vest, how can now the police force come out here and rubbish the question that people are asking about the incident? Because you cannot have any definitive. If another police saw because another police was holding his gun, right? So police must have been standing and watching him search. So why didn't the police, if it's a case where the other police saw, did any other police see when the magazine dropped out? All of them was leaving. Why did it take the young man, the brethren in the video, to say, oh, and it gets better, people? Meanwhile, I'm asking all of these questions. It gets better. Listen to this.
Brought to his attention by the young men, to their credit, and they were actually commended for bringing it.
So what if they were commended for telling them that the man might protect themselves? Then they need a commendation, brother. Then they need a JSA to tell them, say, yeah man, good job man, for telling us that we dropped our M16 clip in your car. Thank you. That's what a citizen, a law-abiding citizen should do. Bro, a law-abiding citizen don't want no clip in their car, brother. If the police go stop them and shoot them and kill them, because we found a clip in the car. And somebody draw a gun, and the next thing you get them plant on gun pan the youth them because they find one clip on them. Like what? And don't tell me that, oh, you're just overreacting. Bro, we have seen video of police executing people, bro. And telling you on the report that it's something else. This is why you guys need body-worn cameras. Because at this point, from a body-worn camera, we could tell whether or not the police placed the weapon in the car, or if the police actually, it slipped out of his vest. We could tell that, from a body-worn camera, because the body-worn camera would clearly show that it was not in the vehicle before the police went in. And even when the police is coming out, it must would have picked it up because it was visibly enough, and under the little bag, it would have picked it up. Like, see there, it's right there, so you could have used the body-worn camera as confirmation that, the police wasn't trying to actually set these guys up. It was a mistake. But then, after that now, you could judge the police rightfully and legally because you would know all the facts. You guys see why the body-worn cameras is a good thing? It is there to protect the police and the citizen. Why is the JSA and the Minister of National Security and the Prime Minister so against body-worn cameras? Are not so for it. They have made more arguments against body-worn cameras. They have actually supported the men in blue when there was a protest for body-worn cameras. They didn't support the protest. Dorothy, how are you doing? Listen to me. The clip was, this is why I said, look, remember just play the last part of this. Hold on, because these guys, man, unreal.
To his attention, and he retrieved his magazine. I think it would have been extremely foolhardy on his part, and to their credit, and they were actually, the magazine was dislodged and left on the seat. It was brought to his attention by the young men to their credit, and they were actually commended for bringing it to his attention, and he retrieved his magazine. I think it would have been extremely foolhardy on his part to try to plant the government's magazine with the government's rounds that he signed for when he would have left the station, and he would have had to have given an account for when he reached back to the station.
This man is not a lawyer. Clearly. You hear his argument? It would have been foolhardy for the police. So he's arguing intent, you know, for the police, you know, while not being on the scene, you know. This is how far the JCF goes. He is now arguing intent. How? He's no better than us. He's no better than us, you know. We are asking questions. He's actually worse than us. We, the vloggers that they say spread propaganda, right? He is worse than us. Because how is it are you going to argue intent? That it would be foolish of the police. So who tell us say police not foolish? You can only speak for yourself in terms of what you would do, you know. That is, hey, if I am no lawyer, but that's got to be one of the weakest defense you could bring in front of a judge. You know, judge, it would be foolish of the police to plant his own what do you call it, magazine that he signed for before he went to work, that he would have to sign back in when he would be finished. It would be foolish of him to plant that magazine in the car of the men that they were searching. All right, so let me ask you something. You see, I don't even want to go into that diatribe, you know, because this is where the hypotheticals come in, which is why his argument of trying to argue intent is bad, because I could easily say, well, criminals do foolish things. You know, I cannot argue the intent of the police officer, but what does it appear to be? And you know what I would argue? This is why we need body-worn cameras, because we need to protect the good police. Because it very well could have been a situation where it dropped out of his pocket or his vest and he did not realize that it happened, which is scary. That is actually scary. That's actually scary for the police to be that incompetent in their operations. That is scary. So no matter which way you look on this, it exposes the JCF. They have been boasting about the best training, bro. They have been acting as if, yo, listen, we are God's gift to security. Send us to Gaza, all right? Or send us to fight some war, because we would know exactly what we need to do in those spaces to bring down the crime. You feel me? And I'm not saying that people don't make mistakes, but it's the posture of the JCF that is the problem. They are not open to serious dialogue and concerns from the citizens. All they want to do is rubbish those concerns and act as if they are not real. And talk to us about moral fiber. Or if you talk to us about moral fiber when corrupt police are lying on their reports, right? 23 police got one house. You dead. Oh, he ran past all 23 of us and he went inside after we already apprehended him and took out a gun and we had to defend ourselves. He ran past us and took up a gun from out of some towel in the corner of a room, a bedroom. And we are supposed to believe that. That is just logical, you know, it makes a lot of sense. I know this. Yo, you got to be kidding me.
Now, the whole conversation, while it is good to raise questions, senior counsel, who I have a great deal of respect for, said it was chilling. I find his comments chilling, because if I could scrape up the large sums of money to if I needed counsel, I would turn to him if it was me in this matter, because he would have noted, I would imagine, that video is obviously edited. And if it is...
Alright, so now the video is edited. So What does that say about the actual magazine being on the seat? Which is the bottom line. The editing of the video. What does that say about the magazine being on the seat? The police were leaving, sir. In the video, the police were leaving. What you cannot argue, you know, is that the young man had to tell the police that he left it dropped or it's on the seat. What you cannot argue is that he was not aware that it was not on him. So after those facts, your argument about intent because he has to sign off on his magazine, my brother, I'm telling you, this is not helping your guys' appearance of not not being corrupt as an organization. It's not helping you. It's not helping you at all. Not a little bit, not even slightly.
The end of the video and then the beginning of the video.
He said the officer reported being unaware that the magazine had dropped when...
You hear that? The officer reported he was unaware that the magazine had dropped. Again, he was unaware. So how could he tell you when the magazine dropped? Because he was unaware. And how could he tell you where it dropped? The only reason why there's a statement about the magazine and where it dropped is because the person that pointed it out, which was not the police. So for all the police know, the magazine could have dropped in at the front of the car and somebody put it around at the back and put the bag over it. You see where we're going with this? More questions and less answers. At the end of the day, whose fault is it? The police. So it don't look good on the JCF, I'm telling you. And the fact that they are coming out and saying this as if, oh, this is just an open and shut case. No, sir. No. No.
Asked if there's a policy requiring officers to remove items before a search, SSP Brooks said clear search procedures exist, but declines to comment further, citing an ongoing internal probe.
So, basically, he's saying that protocols exist in terms of you searching a vehicle. I don't know, like making sure that something can drop out of your pocket and drop in the car. Making sure that everything on you is sealed and locked in so you don't lose anything. I don't know, like a clip. People, let us go back. Because this is what I'm not gonna allow them to get away with this. Look at where the magazine is. The magazine is under the bag. How the magazine drop. Listen to me. How the magazine drop and slide under the bag like that. Doesn't that appear to be placed under the bag partially, ladies and gentlemen? Sorry for you people, I'm going to pass up. Yes. Look at that. Look at that. The magazine appears to be under the bag. So how on God's green earth did the magazine drop out of his vest at the top of his body and just happen to neatly and perfectly go under the bag? Please explain that to me, somebody. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. I'm just thinking about it. I'm going with the story of the police. It dropped out of him vest. How on God's green earth it drop out of him vest? It don't look like him drop out of him vest, there, brother. That look like the bag was placed on the partially placed on the magazine. Alright, so you can say also it dropped out of him vest. Him never hear when it drop on the seat, budoof. People, I want to get one sponge. Wanna hear that? Wanna hear that? Just listen someone a little bit. And the hardness of the magazine and the sponginess of the seat. Listen, you can go and try this. Go drop one piece of iron in the back of one car seat will stay like that and tell me say you're not going to hear the thing drop, brother. So this a police are so unaware. Him never feel his slide out time in jacket. That the heavy something there. Oh God, man, people. Am I being unreasonable? If I'm being unreasonable, please say it to me. But I had to come on here and talk about this before I go to my bed. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Slippery, Dorothy says slippery magazine. Yo, I play it straight through one more time. Nah, stop it. Make me hear myself.
Senior Superintendent Dennis Brooks, the JCF's senior communications strategist, told the nationwide radio on Monday that the magazine accident...
Senior communications strategist. Strategist for what? For making stuff up? I'm just asking. Senior strategist to come and try to argue the intent of the officer when you are not there on the scene. But you have video, so you won't believe the video. We should not believe our eyes. Yes, it was under the bag, but here's what happened. It dropped out of vest and it slid under the bag. He didn't see it. The police that was there watching him, observing him search, never saw it either. Right? Nobody saw it but the young man that said, "Father, what is on the left under the seat?" He was the only one that was aware. And at this point, the police were leaving. My question is, what would have happened if the police could not identify where his magazine was? What if those young men were not honest and they left with the magazine? What if they left with it and were not caught? What would be the punishment of the police officer? That's my question. That's one of my questions.
It fell from the officer's ballistics vest onto the back seat of the vehicle.
The video has been seen by members of the High Command. There are, yes, it is a matter that has been brought to the attention of the police in the St. Catherine South Division where this incident took place. But I think that...
When did it take place, sir?
I beg your pardon?
When did it take place? And where?
To my knowledge, the information that I have at this time would suggest that it took place yesterday in the St. Catherine South Division,
October 12th.
In the vicinity of Nago Head.
Okay, go ahead.
The information that I have is that the police saw a vehicle speeding out of the gas station. There were men in the vehicle who were shirtless. Out of just due diligence, the police stopped the vehicle. The men said that they were coming from playing football.
Alright, the guy understand the vehicle speed off. The man them shirtless. Is it uncommon for men to be shirtless in their vehicle? So anyway, there's a group of black men. The police automatically antennas go up. Anywhere there's a group of black men, their antennas just go up. That's our next conversation.
They asked to search the vehicle. They were allowed to search the vehicle. The men said that they wanted to record. Police said, sure, go ahead and record. There are protocols.
Big up to the police them to make sure so the man them record. Because listen, this could have been way uglier. This could have been way uglier. Big up the police them for make the youth them record. And make the other police them know say, you can't take nobody phone if they want to record. It is our constitutional right to record in public space or in our houses. Yes? Let us not have another incident where the police is taking away people's phone and mashing it up. Let us not have that. And if that, can we get a law put in place where if that should happen, it will be deemed as so illegal, you look on 10 years in a prison. It will be deemed as you trying to block off potential evidence, right, that could arise in a criminal case, a potential criminal case. Yes, I think we need that, you know. Yeah, man. Because them 15 years for water gun, brother. And then the politician them too. We need some harsh penalty upon them, brother. Yeah, man. We need some harsh penalty upon the politician them. No joke. The politician them supposed to feel comfortable with getting the harshest penalty. Because you see, if you wanted this shit, you should get it, innit? Somebody said the police is not talking truth. The video was not edited. Brethren, I don't know, you know. I don't know if the video was edited, you know. Alright, so I not even want to go there. I don't even want to think that they are lying about the video being edited. I don't even want to think that.
You're going to search a vehicle, you have to search it in the presence of the person. So they are obviously watching the search take place. Mm-hmm. The information that I have is that while the search, well, the officer's rifle was handed to his colleague and he began to search the vehicle. However, there was one magazine that he had lodged in his ballistic vest, and he searched the front and rear of the vehicle, and while exiting the vehicle, the magazine was dislodged and left on the seat. It was brought to his attention by the young...
Yo, this is the crack in their story. This is the crack in the police story. I feel like I'm on Law and Order, man. Boy, I tell you. I am asking the question again. How could the police officer report that the magazine fell out of his vest onto the seat when he was exiting? That would be he couldn't give a definite statement that that's what happened. He couldn't, because that would mean he felt it drop out of his vest, or saw it drop out of his vest, or heard it drop out of his vest onto the seat, and neglected it and didn't take it up. And again, if that's the case, the questions that everybody is asking is, why? Why would you leave it in the car when you saw it drop out of your vest, heard it drop out of your vest, right? Or felt it drop out of your vest? You see, they hear it or you see it or you felt it, you know. Slide out and you feel it slide out. Right? And there could be several things. You feel it slide out, you look inside. You saw it drop out on the seat, or you heard it drop out on the seat and then you look. Right? Or you could use all three things. You could hear it and feel it at the same time, and you saw it after that. You recognize that it was there. So after recognizing that it was there, based off of this report and knowledge what him get, right? Is it that another police officer saw it drop out of your vest? And if another police officer saw it, why didn't that police officer say, brother, squaddy, you drop your clip, take it up. In the clip, the police officers were leaving. The guy had to call them back, for crying out loud. So how could there be a report that it fell out of his his vest. It fell out of his vest when he was exiting the car. Come on, bro. Come on. Stop taking us for idiots, brother. This don't sound right, brother. This don't sound right. You don't sound right.
To their lodged and left on the seat. It was brought to the front and rear of the vehicle, and while exiting the vehicle, the magazine was dislodged and left on the seat. It was brought to his attention.
So so you would have to have a camera footage of the if he did not testify, if the police officer that was searching did not testify that the magazine, probably about the size of my phone, like this, the magazine, if he couldn't testify that the magazine fell from his mouth, it would mean that they watched a video and saw. I wonder if any of these police had a body worn camera on. You know, so probably not. We don't have that detail. So, you know, that could be it. And this is a hypothetical because I don't know. So a police officer was there with a body worn camera. It must be that picked up when it fell out of his pocket or his jacket or his vest, right? And when they look back on the footage of the body worn camera, they realize at what point the magazine fell out of his vest. If that's not the case, ladies and gentlemen, if it was not caught by a camera, somebody, one of the other officers had to see it drop out of his vest. And if the officer saw it and did not make him aware of it, that is another conversation, of another cause for high level of concern. There's so much questions here. But guess what? Everybody's going to forget about this, you know. Everybody is going to forget about this. Not me. Will we hear how the case ends if the police officers got punished? I doubt it. I doubt you're going to hear anything. I doubt any, how should I put it? I doubt any media, mainstream media, is going to question them on this and advocate on behalf of the citizens and the public, where we are concerned about a worrying trend with the JCF operatives. Some of them, not all of them. You know, we have good police out there, and we give thanks to them because we need them. I'm not anti-police. I'm anti-corrupt cops. Just let us be clear. I am anti-corrupt cops. I am anti-corrupt politicians. They have way too much power. We cannot afford for them to be corrupt. It could mean the lives of hundreds of our children and our women and our men. And that is just the bottom line about it. We simply cannot afford it, ladies and gentlemen. Cannot afford it. So this is the wrinkle in their unless we get more information. Like I said, somebody had to see that clip drop out, and if somebody saw it and didn't raise the alarm to the police, if it was another police that saw it, then Dennis Brooks, SSP, but he was in the media. How did he get this job? Yo, Jamaica is not a real place, bro. What you say? 22136 famous killer plant magazine in car. Dorothy, what you talking about? Are you saying that the police officer that the magazine fell from his vest has a reputation? Allegedly. Me a go me bed. I don't even want to think about that being a possibility. You know what? We don't have a good night. Yeah, man. People, the word is love. The word is love. I don't want to think about that, bro. I don't want to think about that. The word is love. Dorothy, love you. Have a good night. I'm not even going to aim. Father God, we need your help. That's all I'm going to say. Lord, we need your help. I'm going to my bed. I don't want to think about it. I'm going to my bed. I'm going to my bed. People have a good morning. Love in the air.